Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and another new video on the Subaru Impreza. So in today's video, the plan is going to be to start putting everything back on the engine, ready for getting it to start up. And obviously by doing that, we can see what's missing, what needs replacing, etc. I did start the other day and put the cam covers back on. And also I noticed that this pulley tensioner was broken here. So I managed to find on eBay, you can buy a kit with new tensioner and new bolts and everything. And I managed to respray the bracket. So that's all done and ready. I've got some new belts to go on. Yeah, so basically over here is what is in the car and ready to go on. Obviously the alternator, intercooler, airflow meter, lots of brackets, lots of miscellaneous bolts and stuff. So I may need some of your help. I may need your help, guys, to identify some of these. But yeah, I think what we do now is we will get the camera set up on a tripod, get it on some time lapse, and I'm just going to start recording, putting it all back together again, and we'll see how far we get today. The other thing I noticed that this oil pressure switch is an aftermarket one, because this cable here is the plug for the oil pressure switch, which is just a single blade. But this switch has got 3 terminals on. So I don't know whether it's for a standalone ECU or whether it's just for gauges. But I don't know if you can see, the writing on it. It's a Grady one, so I've no idea what that is. I think it's aftermarket, but it doesn't seem to plug into anything on the car. So what I've done is I've just ordered a new oil pressure switch, take that out, put a new one in, plug it up, and hopefully it should be okay. So I'll get the camera set up and we'll start cracking on with it. first start.
Fucking hell.
Fuck yeah.
There was a fucking flame that came out of that.
Right, let's give it a go. Back swap. That's no good. So, as you see in that little bit of video, we are getting a spark, which is good news. So what I might try next is seeing whether we are getting any fuel up. I did try a bit of easy start, but it didn't seem to want to go. So the other thing I may do is just pop all the plugs out, give them all a wipe over, pop them all back in, and then we look at some fuel, see whether that's the issue. So I've taken this top pipe off the fuel filter, which I think feeds the engine with the fuel, and stuck the pipe into the jerry can. Let's just see if I can turn it over to see if we're getting any fuel up. I think from that, we might have a dead fuel pump, because there is absolutely nothing. The dribble might have just run out the pipe, but we're not getting the gush that I had expected. So I think what we'll do is we'll take the back seat out and we're trying to make sure we're getting power there. And if we're getting power there, I would say it's probably the fuel pump. So I may have to order one of them up. So I've taken the back seat out and I found the plug that plugs into the fuel pump. And I believe the purple and red, or purple and orange wire and black, are the 12 volt feed and negative. So what I've done is I've stuck a couple of cables in the terminals because my multimeter won't fit in there. So I've got the resting on the positive, resting on the negative, and let's just go and fire the old key on and see if we get any voltage. Oh, no. Let's just make sure we've got a good connection. I think we've got a good connection. Hang on, let me just make sure them terminals are touching. Hang on. Sorry about that, guys. I don't think that was quite making a contact. Let's try it again. So we do have 12 volts when I put the ignition on briefly. So I assume that's just as and when it primes. Yeah. So I would say the wiring's good up to the plug. So it's pointing at the pump is the problem. The other test I can try is just by sticking 12 volts directly to that pump and see what happens. So guys, I did try and put 12 volts on here, but I couldn't get in there safely enough to stick the 12 volt supply on there without potentially touching the cables together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo all the bolts, take the fuel pump out, and bench test it basically. So I'm going to back on some time lapse. We'll get this out, we'll get it onto the bench, and we'll see what pump's in it, and also see if we can maybe tap it, get it to work, and yeah, go from there. So this is the state of the pump. So no wonder why it's not working. All this filter's all broken. But what I want to try and do is give this a clean up, see if there's any markings on it, to tell me whether it's a standard pump or whether it's an uprated pump. I don't know whether it's been changed already or whether that's how Subaru would have done it. But what I'm going to do now is give it a bit of a scrape over and see if there's any markings on it. So I just tried putting 12 volts onto it. It's as dead as a door now. Well, it ticks and then nothing, so I assume it's just jammed up inside. And I can't see, I did give it a rub down, I can't see any special markings on it, so I assume it's probably just a standard pump. So I'll get a pump ordered, and hopefully we should have the Subaru running very soon. So I have a Walbro pump off of eBay, and I'm going to replace this old one. But first I'm going to try and give the cradle a bit of a clean up before it goes back in. So I'll get it on some time lapse, we get it all built up, and we get it back in the tank. So we're over at the tank, and I've drained about 6 litres of manky, rusty old fuel out, which doesn't look great at all. So that's good that that is now out. But inside the tank's not looking particularly great. But I think for now, I'm going to try and clean out in there where the pump sits in with the filter, and we just have to go with that because this tank is going to have to come out at some point. But it's not a job that I wanted to do right now. All I want to do is get this car running. So for now, I'm going to clean it out the best I can, and we're going to put the pump in and we'll send it and see what happens. But future plans will be to take this tank out. But the issue is that to get this tank out, the diff's got to come out, the subframe's got to come out, the prop's got to come out. So it's a much bigger job than I want to take on currently. So for now, we will carry on with installing the fuel pump. So there we are. That is the pump all fitted into the cradle. I've given it a bit of a clean up, so it's a lot better than what it was. And don't know if you saw, but I put it all in and forgot to put the filter on, so I had to cut the tie wraps and put it on. The other good thing about this pump is it's specifically for the Subaru, so it literally just plugs straight in. There's no cutting of any wires or anything, so it should be just plug and play. So we go over to the car, we get this plugged in, and we'll see if she works. So before I stick it in the tank, I've literally just plugged it straight in, and we'll see if it works. All right, switch ignition on. That's good enough for me. That's all priming up and working well. So let's get it back in the tank, get some fuel in and see what happens. So the pump is back in the tank, and I put a jerry can of fuel in it, about 5 litres. So it should be enough to pick up. Before I try and start it, I want to try and purge the lines of the old fuel and get some fresh up. So I've taken the feed off to the injectors. So what I'll do is I'll give it a couple of flicks with put the ignition on, probably 3 or 4 times, just so it pumps all the old fuel through and we get some fresh up, and hopefully give it a fighting chance. Did we get anything out of it? Yep, there's about 20 mil in there. So I wonder if I can, because it did it once and that was it, so I assume that that's primed. I wonder if I disconnect the battery again and try it again, it will push a bit more out. So let me empty that and I'll try again. Right, let's give that another go, see if that pushes any more fuel out. No. Assume that that's already pressurised, I assume, but let's put it on and let's see if she fires. I don't know why it didn't do it a minute ago, but I've just tried it again. It did it twice and it smells like fresh petrol. So I think we're ready to go and have a fire up. So let's put that there and let's give it a go. See what happens. So guys, I think I'm going to leave this video here. It's not been as successful as I was hoping. I was hoping we may have it running, but as you can see in the video, it is trying. We do have a working fuel pump now. I think I might try getting the injectors out and testing them and getting them cleaned, and then we know that we're getting fuel. But if any of you guys have had this issue before with a Subaru Impreza, do please drop a comment and let me know how you solved it. Yeah, but other than that, we got it back together again. The engine's pretty much all back together. It's turning over now. It's trying to fire, but we're just not getting it going. So if you are enjoying these videos, do please give a thumbs up, drop a comment, and hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.